X-Men 3, The Last Stand. Now, this movie released in 2006. I watched that film and I don't like that movie. I'm not gonna lie. It's not even the worst. It's not the worst X-Men film because some of the scenes are really boring. The characters are awesome. The effects were great. But the most embarrassing moment in X-Men 3 is Nightcrawler's not in X-Men 3. Why? I don't know. Let's start with the new characters and their associated superpowers, okay? In this movie, there are 3 teams. The first team is X-Men, is Warren Worthington III, also known as Angel. He has feather wings that he can fly. Kitty Pryde, also known as Shadow Cat, uses intelligibly, and she is played by Ellen Page. Ellen Page, I like that. Dr. Hank McCoy, also known as the Beast, uses superhuman strength, speed, stamina, agility, durability, senses, and dexterity. The Beast is played by Kelsey Grammer. That actor and that character was amazing. Way to go, Dr. Fraser Crane, or Sideshow Bob. Jimmy, also known as Leech, uses powers, negation, and superpowers cancellation. The second team is the Brotherhood of Mutants. Multiple Men uses duplication himself. Juggernaut uses superhuman strength, stamina, and durability. The last X-Men team is the Omegas. The leader of Omega is Kayla Stowe, who uses super speed power. Psylocke uses shadow teleportation, but she does not demonstrate any side powers in the movie. Quill, named as Kid Omega in the credits, uses spikes that grow out of his hair faster. Archlight uses hand-clap shockwave. Now before we start the story, who directed X-Men 3? I know, the guy that he directed the Rush Hour series named Brett Ratner. Okay, let's start the story. 20 years ago, Professor X and McNeil meets Jean Grey. She uses her telekinetic powers to lift cars and lawnmower. While this is happening, there's Stanley holding a hot water hose. Suddenly, he sees the water from his hose rising upwards. This is the work of Jean Grey using her telekinetic powers. 10 years ago, Warren Worthington II discovers his son became a mutant. Decades later, in the not-too-distant future, the X-Men train and practice to fight the enemies. Cyclops is feeling upset because he misses Jean Grey. The Beast is now a member of the U.S. Cabinet, holding a position as a Secretary of Mutant Affairs. Mystique was caught by security guards. They asked her, "Where is McNeil?" She could not tell them because it was a secret. The Beast is visiting the X-Men to see the X-Men, and he tells them about curing mutants, changing them back to humans. Warren Worthington II made the lab that produced the medicine to cure mutants in Alcatraz Island. Meanwhile, McNeil and the Brotherhood of Mutants talk about curing mutants, and the Omegas are part of a Brotherhood of Mutants. Mystique is held captive in the jail truck. Later, the Beast is visiting a boy named Jimmy in Alcatraz Island. Cyclops visits Alka Lake and learns about Jean Grey's death. Feeling very upset, he takes off his glasses and his laser eyes fire towards the water. He thinks back to the moment when Jean Grey was killed. Cyclops can't believe his eyes. Jean Grey is alive! They kiss each other, but suddenly Jean Grey kills Cyclops! Dun dun dun! Back at X-Mansion, Professor X feels something bad. He needs Wolverine and Storm to find Jean Grey. When they arrive at Alcala Lake, they see rocks and Cyclops' glasses floating in the air, and Jean Grey lying still on the ground. There is no sign of Cyclops. They bring Jean Grey back to the X-Mansion, and Professor X discovers her superpowers and that her nickname is Phoenix. Meanwhile, in San Francisco, all those people in the streets want to stop curing mutants. They want superheroes to fight the villains. Warren Worthington II wants his mutant son to become a human again. However, his son, Warren Worthington III, does not want returned to human form. As a mutant, he can fly everywhere. Later, Magneto destroys the cars, a truck, and he rescues Mystique, multiple men, and the Juggernaut. Mystique was shot by Curing Needle. She turns into human from without superpowers, and Magneto bans her. At X-Mention, Wolverine saw Jean Grey awakes, and he thinks she kills Cyclops. Wolverine tries to help her, but she can't control herself, and she leaves the X-Mention. Wolverine and Storm plan to bring Professor X to Jean Grey's house, but unknown to them, Professor X is with Magneto. They visit her house and try to help her, but she is unable to control herself, and she transforms into Dark Phoenix. Wolverine and Storm are under attack by Callisto and the Juggernaut. Dark Phoenix destroys her house, kills Professor X, and she joins the Brotherhood of Mutants. Oh no! The next day at X-Mention, everyone is sad that Professor X is dead. That night, Kitty Pryde and Iceman are skating at a frozen water fountain. Rogue sees this, and she's upset because she thinks Iceman is in love with Kitty Pryde, and she decides to leave X-Mention. Oh dear. The President of the United States wants the Army to get plastic weapons that can shoot injections of the curing medicine. They don't want to use metal weapons because Magneto will magnetize metals. Wolverine is at the forest, spying on Magneto. Magneto talks about Cure Medicine and his team, and they are planning to destroy a Cure Lab at Alcatraz Island. That was Magneto's evil plan, because, you've guessed it, he tries to take over the world. Late at night in the forest, the U.S. Army believed they found the Brotherhood of Mutants. Instead, they found the multiple men who tricked them into believing they saw the Brotherhood of Mutants. What? Back at San Francisco, Magneto magnetized the Golden State Bridge, moves to Alcatraz Island. The U.S. Army fires the Cure Medicine needles at the Brotherhood of Mutants. Magneto tells Archlight to clap and produce the shockwave to destroy Cure weapons. The X-Men arrive at Alcatraz Island to join in the battle against the Brotherhood of Mutants. At the same location on Alcatraz Island, the Omegas are searching for Warren Worthington II. Magneto instructs Juggernaut to search for Jimmy. Kitty Pryde tries to rescue Jimmy from the Juggernaut inside the lab. Juggernaut's leg is stuck in the floor. Kitty Pryde grabs his leg, and listen to this. Juggernaut shouts the cheesy quote. Listen. Don't you know who I am? I'm the Journal, bitch! I'm not gonna lie, this scene was hilarious. Oh dear. Anyway, Kitty Pryde rescues Jimmy, but Juggernaut charges after them, and because he went too close to Jimmy, he lost his powers and boom, bumped to his wall. Ouch. Warren Worthington II was captured by the Omegas. They throw him off the building, but suddenly, Warren Worthington III rescues his father. Magneto magnetized the cars, lifts them up, and along comes Pyro and sets them aflame. Magneto throws the burning cars to the X-Men and US soldiers. Iceman and Pyro are fighting, and Iceman turns into a solid block of ice, grabs Pyro's arm, and gives him a headbutt. Sub-Zero. Whoops. I mean, Iceman wins. No fatality. Anyway, the Team X-Men had a plan to finish Magneto. Storm uses fog powers, preventing Magneto from seeing the X-Men. Colossus grabs Wolverine and throws him to Magneto. Magneto magnetized Wolverine using his magnetizing powers. Behind and unknown to Magneto, the Beast leans forward and injects Magneto with the Cure Medicine. Finally, Magneto is defeated. The team rescues Jean Grey, but she transforms into Dark Phoenix and she kills many of soldiers in the Omegas. The Team X-Men, US soldiers, and Magneto are leaving Alcatraz Island, leaving Wolverine behind to stop Jean Grey from turning evil. Wolverine tells Jean Grey to stop being evil, but she can't control herself. And Wolverine kills her. Sometime later at X Mansion, Storm becomes a headmistress, and Rogue is back at X Mansion. The Beast is now an ambassador of United Nations. Meanwhile, at San Francisco Park, Magneto played chess alone. But suddenly, I am not lying. He gestures towards a metal chess piece and wobbles slightly, and his powers have returned. Dun dun dun! In a post-credits scene, spoiler alert! I repeat, spoiler alert! Professor X is alive! What happened to him? Did he clone himself? Did he travel back in time? And the end. Or is it? So, that's my review of X-Men 3. It was alright. I dislike it. It means, well, I don't hate that film. I always dislike it. The characters are awesome. The effects were great. And it will be alright. So, that's it for X-Men. I review the first, second, and third. X-Men will come back in May 2015. I'm reviewing X-Men Origins Wolverine and X-Men First Class. So before I go, I want to ask you one question just for you. What is your favorite X-Men film? Why? And let me know in the comments below. So, have a great summer, everyone, and take care.